My name is Mo Yanan. This is my individual oral presentation. Today, our class is about 基础汉语教学 basic Chinese teaching. For today's class, we have 4 goals. The first one is 介绍自己. The second one is 基本语法. The third one is 词汇与句子构建 vocabulary and sentence construction. The last one is 总结与回顾 summary. So let's turn to the first part. 介绍自己 introduce yourself. So could you please introduce yourself in Chinese? Okay. So there are 4 points is important when you introduce yourself to others. The first one is 你的中文名字 your Chinese name. So if you want a stranger to remember you faster, you need to have a nice Chinese name. There are two ways you can make your new Chinese name. The first one is transliteration. The second one is meaningful. So for the first one, transliteration. For example, in China, people called Michael. You can it means 马克 in Chinese. So for the next one, meaningful. So in China, for example, someone called 大力 or 富国, it means strong and rich. So you can also make a name you like. So the second one is 你的年龄和家乡 your age and your hometown. For example, how old are you this year and where are you from? These two are the most frequently asked questions in Chinese greetings. Next one is what are you doing in China? So when you introduce yourself to others, in addition to explaining that you are here to study, you can also introduce your school, your major, and so on. So the last one is what do you like to do? So when you introduce yourself to others, you can introduce your hobby, 你的业余爱好. For example, sports, 运动, music, 音乐, which can make others get along with you better and become your friends. The second part is 基本语法 basic grammar. So this part we divided it into 3 small sections. The first section is 中英文语法相似之处 grammatical similars between Chinese and English. So although Chinese and English are two different language families, they also have a lot in common. For example, both Chinese and English use subject, predicate, object, sentence structure 主谓宾结构. So in addition, both Chinese and English have qualifiers. For example, a cup of tea, 一杯茶, a pair of socks, 一双袜子. So let's turn to the next section is basic features of Chinese grammar. So the first one is subject, predict, object, 主谓宾. Because we already talked this one, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is 时间和地点. In Chinese, the time when something happens, is happening, or will happen occurs at the beginning of the sentence or immediately after the subject. So next one is 复数和单数. Whether you have 1 or 2 or 2,000 things in Chinese, the noun you use to describe it will remain the same. Next one is 提问. So it's also easy to ask basic questions in Chinese. The easiest way to ask a question is add a word 吗 at the end of the sentence. Next one is 表示占有. In English, this is usually done by adding a word as to the end of a word to indicate that the item is mine. In Chinese, possession means 的. It follows the person or pronoun to which something belongs. Next one is 否定. Chinese use two different ways to express negation. The most common is use of the character 不, which means no, don't want, or don't want to. The last one is qualifier. As an English speaker, you already know how to use qualifiers that are more common in English. For example, we often talk about a pear or pens or a slice of cake. The main difference between Chinese and English qualifiers is that there are more qualifiers in English. So let's see some practice for this Chinese grammar. So could you please use Chinese to translate this sentence for me? Okay, let's see the answers. So the first one is the most easy one. That's 我去超市，我是主语的 subject， 去是谓语predict， 超市是谓语是 object。 So the next one is 时间和地点。 So as it seems as what I said before. So 昨天3年前 the time is after the subject. And 提问 it is in Chinese it is at ma at the end of the sentence. So next one 表示占有 it is at the after person, at the after the person. 表示否定 it is at 不 after the person. And the last one 量词 the Chinese and the English are same. A kilo of potatoes 1公斤土豆 a bowl of rice 1碗米饭。So the third part is vocabulary and sentence construction. 词汇和句子构建。Okay, there are 3 different long sentences in 3 different places. So could you please use Chinese to translate these 3 sentences? The first one is at a restaurant. The second one is in the school study room. The third one is you want to make a friend with your classmates. Okay, let's see the answer. So the first one we use the qualifiers. So 1碗米饭 1盘鸡蛋 and so on. And the second one we use grammar ask questions. So we add a ma at the end of the sentence. And the third one is same with the second one, also use the grammar ask questions. Okay, so in this lessons we mainly learned how to introduce yourself and basic grammar and construction of vocabulary and sentence. These knowledge points are applied in daily life, such as when we go shopping, make friends, and eating in a restaurant. So please practice these knowledge points and dialogue use in your spare time. Thank you.